Welcome to the Michigan Golfer Show. Join us each week as we explore the people, the places, and the events that shape our great game.
Well, for me, it's double win. It's a bucket list to be with these guys. I mean, I have a chance to watch a lot of golf. I don't play as much as I'd like to play, but I love the game. And, Jack said it really well. I didn't realize it, but all the fundraising you have to do in college, it is done over golf. And, I've done a lot in California and Florida and New York and Chicago just this summer. And so now that I think about it, Jeff, you and I better get our act together, because when you say golf has done it more than all the other sports combined, I do believe that, and it's a privilege to try to give back. I think coming up, I didn't have anything, my family didn't have anything, and now that I have more, being a little more philanthropic, being a little more giving back is very important to me, so this is an awesome.
I got hooked on golf, but because I'm a mental midget, I didn't take it very far. So this isn't going to help that. But no, I get a chance to watch. My son's is a young golfer, and so he goes to a lot of these tournaments, and he talks about the nerves on the first tee, and I get a chance to watch him. So we get to reverse it today. We'll see how Dad does.
I'd like to say one other thing, because when you go by different sports, and ours is kind of a team sport, and theirs is kind of an individual sport. And I always tell my guys that are selfish, I said, if you got to realize that if you want to be a golfer, you don't get to look to the left and right and blame somebody else. In our sport, you blame the coaches. That's normal. And if the players don't, the media does. In both ways. But that's what I love about golf, is there's nobody can turn right or left and blame somebody else. You gotta man up and look in the mirror and say, this is what I've done right and this is what I've done wrong. And so I think it's one of the ultimate mental games, and that's why I admire it so much.
Hopefully we get lots of right by the end of this round.
Yeah.
And for Jack and Lee, when was the last time you two played together on a team?
Lee and I?
Yeah.
We shot 18 under par the last time we played together.
Houston, right?
No, the last time we played together was in Minnesota.
Well, it was close.
Yes, Minnesota. We did a three-man scramble with Gary Player, and we shot 18 under. Just try that one on. That was pretty good. And my driver and Nick, Jack had that putter going. The man can putt. We putted a 4-inch hole. He got a coffee can. And it was fabulous. We had to enjoy it. That's kind of the last time.
Yeah, that's last time.
Yeah.
And for this one, we'll start with Jeff and then go down the line. You've all won on some of the biggest stages in all of sports. What does it take to be successful in those moments?
Well, it's interesting, from my perspective, because as Coach Izzo said, I coach a team sport, and so the first thing that comes to my mind is selfless, and that's a little bit different, I guess, when you're playing an individual sport. But having a group that's selfless is critical to any success. And then I say all the time, the two biggest factors I think to success in life is inner drive and perseverance. And what I love about golf and what I loved for my son is the life lesson of learning to grind and learning to get back up when you get knocked down and get back up when you get knocked down. To me, it's such a huge quality in life.
I would say, for me, it's keeping focused on the task and not letting the distractions get to you. In this day and age, it's the world of Twitter. The last 10 years especially, distractions are just enormous. And so handling the mental part of it and staying distractionless would be, I think, a big key. And I can't even imagine what that would be like, in golf when some of those tournaments, there's just so many people. And I've been at a few of them, the Masters once, and it's incredible. So I'd say distractions.
We're by ourselves. We get out what we put in. Coaches have to have a team. They have all these players. They've got to make sure that they spell the team without an I. Because if you get a player in there that spells the team with an I, then you got problems. Because one player that spells the team with an I is going to pull down a couple of other players. It's got to be very difficult. I envy these guys. I don't know how you do it and how you teach these players to go full out all the time. This is how you win. We do it simply because it depends on the tournament, and this is what we do. Kevin Hart says, this is what we do. And we play golf, we try to win golf tournaments, and we put the time in. The more dirt you move, the more tournaments you're gonna win. This is what I believe in. This is one of the reasons that I moved so much dirt when I was young. That's all I have, that's all I've ever known.
Well, on your second shot, let's say par fours, and you make sure that you put the ball not in trouble, you're just bumping it along to make sure you're somewhere, and you can chip it on the green somewhere, you're gonna make some putts. Pretty soon you're gonna find out that you're gonna get better. And then you're gonna start believing in yourself. And when you start to believe in yourself, and you believe in what you can do, and as I say, I don't care whether it's an individual sport or a team sport, if you believe in what you can do a lot of things.
Thank you. Now we'll open it up to questions from the media.
I have a question for Lee Trevino.
I heard a story about you that I want to know whether it's true or urban legend. The story goes that you were playing, I think, in a pro-am, and the head came off of your driver. So you rummaged around in your golf bag and pulled out a Dr. Pepper bottle and taped it to the shaft, and you outdrove the other four guys in the foursome.
Not true at all. It's a hell of a story, but the bottle is right. You got that right about the bottle. When I came up, I was working at a driving range. We had a par 3 course. The shortest hole was 55 yards. The longest hole was 105. I got so good with a wedge that I was playing with one wedge, and then I had to play with a 7-iron. Then I had to play with a driver, and I kept beating everybody. We'd play a couple of bucks, and $5 was a big bet. I got to the point where I couldn't find any games. I even played in the dark at night, at midnight, because I could feel how far the ball would go, and we could play in the dark. And I came up with the idea of playing with a Dr. Pepper bottle. And it was a quart Dr. Pepper bottle, and back in those days in the 60s, you remember that bottle was very thick glass. It was really thick. And I would take the neck, and I would grab it with my right hand. And the bottle sticking out, and I'd throw a ball up. I took a glove, and I used, I made a right-handed glove out of it. And I grabbed the club of the bottle with the tape on it. I would throw the ball up and hit it like a baseball bat. And I could hit it 100 yards. And I could run it, hit it 100 yards. And I used to gamble with the guys, and I would take the tie. That was the bet. We'd play $5, and I hit the tie on a hole. And I would...
It was cabin every year at Augusta. And we got talking one session down there, he was talking, and he said, you know, he said, I had my 7 lean years. And I kept running back home to Sterling Maiden, who was his teacher. And he said, when I stopped running back home to Sterling Maiden and could correct myself and be responsible for my own game, that's when I became a golfer. Well, oddly enough, that's what Jack Grout sort of taught me to start with, to be responsible for myself. And did I go back and see Jack Grout? Yeah, I went back and see Jack Grout maybe once or twice a year, more for just because I wanted to see Jack Grout. And we spent an hour or two, and we get done with the session. I said, we're going to talk about golfing. No, we'll do that next time. You know, I mean, he had taught me how to correct myself, how to fix myself, how to mentally prepare myself, and how not, you know, how to handle what the situation was. And the guys today, I don't criticize them for it because that's what everybody does. But I just don't know, I couldn't afford that, I'll tell you. I mean, having just barber was expensive. But having all those guys and having guys that not one of them could possibly even carry your bag. And then none of them could play golf, none of them could do this, none of them could do that. And, you know, They're not inside your head, and they're certainly not inside your head when you're on the golf course trying to figure out what to do. I just never believed in that, and that you were the same way. You didn't want anybody else there.
Well, I would have taken somebody if they could have beat me.
Yeah. You never found anybody.
My problem is I never could find an instructor that could beat me. So what the hell am I going to take a lesson from? That doesn't make any sense to me.
We all couldn't understand when Tiger won the U.S. Open at Pebble Beach. I think he won, what, 15? 12 shots, was there 15, whatever. Whatever he won by, then he got a new instructor the next week. I'm sitting there saying, really? Why?
I told you what. The other guy was too slow bringing the Coke. So the Coca-Cola and the hot dog was coming too slow. So he gets a new guy, the guy runs for a while until he gets used to it. When, 38 years ago, and we decided to have a family, I decided to be a family man, not only a golfer. Golf was my whole life. And I decided to be a golfer and be a family man also. I figured out a way to do both, and it wasn't that hard. So I used him as an example. Jack is one of the greatest dads that I know. And his dad must have been a great guy also, because he taught him a lot. Barbara naturally is the rock to this family, just like my wife. I had a little more practice. This is my third marriage, so I figured this one out finally. But I've had a terrific life. This lady that I'm married to now is just unbelievable. I mean, she treats me like the day she met me, and that means a lot. Barbara does the same thing with Jack. It means a lot to us, Jack and I, when our wives are there and we know they're there. Even though if you're not, you might even be talking to them, but you know they're in the room or in the house or somewhere close to you. It means a whole lot. And this was an example. I've thanked him 100 times for it. And my kids too. I mean, I told my kids, I said, that's just what I'm doing. And I told my son, and I told him, I said, I'm trying to spend as much time in the world with you because I had you when I was 53, and I'm not going to be around as long as most people. Most sons have their dads, when they've had them at a younger age. So I had him when I was 53. Hell, I might outlive him. You never know. But chances are I'm not. But I want to give him whatever I've got until I can pass on. Yeah. And my daughter Olivia.
And at that time, I got married very young and had children, and so I never did. But I always had great respect for the people that gave us and fought for our freedom. And I've done some things with the military and through the years. And out American Lakes out in Spokane, we did golf course for them out there. But when Lieutenant Colonel Dan Mooney came to me, and I've done a few things for Dan, Patriot Day and so forth. And he said, Jack, he says, I'm nervous about talking to you about this, but I've got a project that I want to do, and I want you to be involved. I said, what is it, Dan? He said, I want to build a golf course. I said, it's for the Folds of Honor. I said, okay, I'm in. He said, no, I haven't explained it to you yet. I said, that didn't make any difference what you explained, I'm in. He said, well, that's what he wanted, So anyway, he came to me, and with this idea, they took their family golf course, turned it into a 501c3. Property over in Grand Haven. It was a tree line golf course, but they already had a name for it. He wanted to call it American Dunes. And I said, Dan, there's nothing but trees. He says, underneath those trees are dunes. So I said, okay. I said, I'm a tree hugger, but I'm not going to be bashful here. So we took down about 2,000 trees, all mature trees. And then Mother Nature took down about another 500. Fortunately, she spared the perimeter. And we had a few pockets of trees left some of those. But he was right, there were sands that would create the golf course. It's a beautiful golf course. We opened it May 1st, and we opened it with sort of a walk through the Hall of Fame, I guess they call it, where the soldiers that are being honored and fallen soldiers. Those of you who don't know what Folds of Honor is, Folds of Honor, Dan Rooney started at, I don't know, probably 17 or 18 years ago, was it?
07.
So 07, well, okay. Only 14 years. With 14 years, he's got his edge, and he's the Fallen Warriors is for the families of fallen warriors to be educated.
I think that's just the way it is. Some people can handle it, some people can't. The way I was brought up is that when you get confronted, you hit them with a left hook as quick as possible. And that's the way it was. I mean, I grew up on a cotton farm in Raleigh, Texas. And yeah, I'm short-fused. I've learned, and it's taken me a hell of a long time to mellow a little bit and to get down. But yeah, nobody got more angry. I broke in as many golf clubs as anybody. I mean, they didn't report it back in those days. I've actually, when I missed a shot one time, I buried a wedge so deep that the caddy couldn't get it out of the ground. I mean, he was kicking it. He was trying to kick it to get it back out of the ground. Yeah, I've beat some trees up like you've never seen before. But it's bad example, you know, and he's not setting a good example. And you're making a donkey out of yourself. You can translate that any way you want to, but I'm mellow.
You learn from it.
Yes, you learn. See, that's the great thing. This is what I tell my son. There's nothing wrong with making a mistake. Nothing wrong. I like mistakes. It is because you have to learn from it. If you don't learn from a mistake, then you got a problem. Okay. You learn from your mistakes. That's how you get better. That's how you get better. It's what we were talking last night about golfers. There are two types of golfers. There are golfers that play golf, and there are golfers that know how to play golf. He and I know how to play golf. And how you actually break that down is what's the difference between playing golf and knowing how to play golf. It's when you get up and nothing's going right that day. You're not hitting the driver well, you're not putting well, and you're making a lot of mistakes, you're missing greens, but you salvage a 73 or you salvage a 72. That's knowing how to play golf. The guy that doesn't know how to play golf is when he comes out and everything's not right and he shoots 82. And even a professional, 78. That's not knowing how to play golf.
So we're going to present the CEO, Jamie Gaskin, led with Denison County with this $30,000 check. And with that, we have a very special announcement from Jeff Brown, who's the CEO of Ally Financial. Jeff?
Well, thank you, fans, for being here. Michigan always brings out so many great people, and obviously, for this tremendous men, just battled for 9 holes. Thank you all for being here and representing. Ally, giving back to the community is so important to us. We know it's important to each of you. So I'm pleased to announce we're going to make a $25,000 donation to each one of your charities of choice or foundation for another $100,000. Thank you so much.
How about one picture with the United Way right over here, and then we're good. Come on in. Where do you No, I'm gonna go down there. Help me out a lot over the Daniel's right there. Yeah, I got it. Right here.